Recording in progress.
So, welcome to today's training, which is going to be part 4 of the key to upgrading your life. It's the final part of this 4-video mini series, and I think, guys, Friday's training is going to have to be pre-recorded. I think I'm going to have to do it today or tomorrow, and it will be the last time you will see these beautiful wallpapered bricks in the background, because we will have moved house by then. So sometimes before I start these trainings, I like to share like a little bit of a personal insight, which I think can help people with the way our minds can sometimes get so twisted as to what's going on. So again, I've kind of discussed this before, haven't I? And you know, one of the biggest pieces of advice I've ever been given and could give is that perception is everything. Like, a situation is just a situation, a circumstance is a circumstance, and it's how we perceive it which makes the difference. So today is going to be quite stressful. I have somebody coming to collect the sofa, collect the fridge freezer, collect the washer dryer, and collect the washer and the dryer. So it's not just a small thing. I'm just going to have to help. It's going to eat up a little bit of time. Just giving this a bit of context here. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this house where my office is. It's not Big Al today, Luke, actually. Big Al's coming tomorrow to help me move my other stuff. So then by the end of today, I'm going to be in this house with this office, but with no fridge freezer, no washer, no dryer, and no sofa. And then I'm going to have a new house, which has all of those things, but doesn't have my desk in it or a bed, because the bed is still in this house, because the bed and the desks aren't getting moved until tomorrow by Big Al. So at points, I'm working myself up into this white heat of stress about this situation. And then I stopped and I thought, well, imagine if you hadn't managed to sell the sofa, the fridge freezer, and the washer and the dryer, and you were still stuck with them, and they hadn't sold. And then you had all of those in the new house because they're integrated, and then you've got all the old ones as well, and you can't get rid of them. And now you're stuck with all this extra stuff. That's just like a tiny thing where you could step back and say, oh, actually, yeah, this is going to be like a bit of a ball ache today getting all this stuff done. But I should be truly, truly grateful and thankful that I've managed to sell all those items and to the people that have bought them. Because without them, I'd be in a much worse situation. Yet just because it's a little bit of a stressful situation, like, you go straight to the negative points rather than the positive points. So sometimes just take that away in the situation. When something's happening that you're like, oh God, this is a nightmare, think about, well, actually, what are the positives? Well, actually, I'm moving to a nice new home. My new office, once it's sorted, is going to be nicer than this one. And it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be more of a home. And I can focus on that, or I can focus on, God, I'm possibly not going to have internet for 48 hours. The office is not set up. My life's in boxes again. You know, negative, 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 until basically we create our own misery. And again, in businesses, it can very much be the same. We've become very focused on maybe the money, the success, the progress, and the clients that we don't have, or that are leaving or have left, rather than being grateful and giving the positive energy and the love and the service to the people that are here. So again, there's just take that little thing away today before I start situations, and just think about perception of the situations, and what's actually going on, and how you can completely change your own emotions around it just by the language, the tonality, and actually stepping back and just looking at how you look at it. So another example, you know, becoming single at 41 years old and thinking, oh my God, I'm 41 years old. I'm now a single dad. I'm now starting out in life again. I can't believe I'm starting out in life again at 41. Or you can flip the situation and say, this is an open door to a million new experiences, loads of fun, new adventures, and I'm 41 and I get to start out in life again. And that's incredible. And I'm blessed. And all these things. It's the same situation. It's almost the same words. Different mindset, different energy. So take that away to start with, perception. So we finished on the last one. I can't recap all of these because it would go too long, but we finished mostly talking about needing to have intention and needing to have direction. So intention was the practical steps of setting yourself up to win. And, you know, it's the difference between whether a plan lasts and you stay the course or you let yourself down and quit after a few weeks, because it depends whether the attention is on the intention. As I've said before, we can't hit a goal that we can't see. And we went through all the steps from, excuse me, peer group to identity, to unbreakable elite, to frequency, to the criteria, to cause and effect, everything we went through in the last 5 sessions. So again, go back and look at what we discussed about your environment, what we discussed about your goals, your energy, your intention, and everything else in between, the emotional maturity, the chaos of personal growth, getting clarity on what we want. We can't hit a goal that we can't see. We can't hit a plan. And again, looking back into the fact that, you know, excuse me, most of the plans that we have need to be ever developing. So we need to stop seeing life as a finish point. The fallacy of I'll be happy when I get this thing, I'll be happy. When I get this amount of money, I'll be happy. When I get this girl, I'm happy. When I've been on holiday here, I'll be happy. And just focus on, you know, our values and what it is that we're passionate about, and doing what we love and being happy on the journey, because that's what leads to you getting the work done effortlessly. We then discussed the difference between high frequency and low frequency people, and the values that we need to get around in order to create a supportive environment that pulls us towards the goal. Remember, 10 to 100 people in a peer group like this all together and pulling in the right direction is the most powerful thing in the world. 2 people trying to pull each other in the wrong direction because they disagree and they both believe that their version of the world and the events and how things should be is right is just exhausting and draining. So we finished on talking about, so we can have the right environment, we can have the right plan, we can have the right peer group, we can have the right coach, we can have the right support, we can have all of these things in place that we discussed in depth, which we kind of do have in place. And remember, we went through, you know, the change has to come from us internally and our inner beliefs. You can't buy yourself out of your old mindset. You can't buy yourself out of your inner beliefs. If you still have these beliefs that you're not good enough, and that all rich people are bad, and that everyone in your family's always been big, and that no one in your family's ever had money, and that there isn't enough opportunity in the world, and you'll never do X, Y, and Z because of X, Y, and Z. If that is an internal belief that we're not working on, then that is what has to change, because no coach, no mentorship, no program, no one in the world, no matter how much money you give them or how knowledgeable they are or how much they've done what you want to do, cannot buy you out of your own inner beliefs. And this is what we discussed, that, you know, when it comes to this situation that we're talking about, we can't take the old you into a new relationship. You can't take your old eating habits into a new fat loss plan. You can't take your old procrastination habits into a fitness plan. The change has to come from within, combined with the plan. So all in all, with all of that built in, I then finished part 3 on discussing accountability, and the fact that accountability is the glue. If you haven't watched part 1, 2, and 3 of this training, go back and watch them in order. I'm not saying don't watch this one live now and stop, because I like you being here, but make sure the 3 get watched in order and you make notes. AJ and Joy made a very good point in the Unbreakable Elite private WhatsApp group today when they were all chatting this morning, that she'd watched the training on understanding human behavior, but then watched it again and then watched it again, and it didn't really go in the first time and she didn't understand it, but then she went back and she got it. And this is such an important point, because I do believe in these morning routines of doing the mindset work and utilizing our own time for productivity. So doing it in the car. I know some of you are in the car now. Some of you will be listening to this, doing the ironing. Some of you will be half messing around with something in the background. The kids are over there and there's a lot of distraction. And sometimes that's just a necessity. It has to be done. And it can be great to come on, listen to it, be kind of half taking it in, and it still gets you in a good place. I do mindset stuff in the car, and I do it when I'm walking. Very occasionally I do it when I'm in the gym, but when I'm in the gym, I don't want to be focused on doing mindset work. I want to be focused on my training session, and focus and intention is key. So just to break that down, these mindset sessions really should be done 1, 2, 3, or 4 times, and you should be completely focused. You shouldn't be looking at other stuff on your phone. That's why I do them on Zoom, not Facebook anymore. And we should be making notes, and we should be focused, and we should be journaling whilst watching them, pausing when we need to, listening to another bit again when we don't understand. Because can you imagine if, like when I'm planning one of these, I'll talk, like Stephen and Neville both sent me really nice messages yesterday about how helpful they've found the mindset sessions. And I went back and said, I really, really appreciate it, because sometimes one of these sessions can take up to 4 to 6 hours of notes, watching a training, re-understanding, finding some different research, relating it to personal experience, making sure that I get ultra clear on understanding everything before delivering it. And again, that can be taken away for you guys in the learning. Like, can you imagine if I just watched a training on something I wanted to deliver a training on, motivation, for example, watched it once in the car whilst distracted, or whilst walking, or whilst in the gym when there was music in the background and people kept stopping to say hello and stuff. And then I jumped on here this morning and tried to deliver that training. Like, would I remember any of it? Would it still be in my head? Would it be powerful? Or is it different when I've taken like 4 or 5 hours out to make notes, learn it, reread it, get it right? So again, take that away for your own learning. If there's a training that you feel you connect with, the best trainings that I've watched from my mentors, I've probably watched them 10 times. The best audio books that I've listened to, I've probably listened to them upwards of 30, 40, 50 times, made notes and post-its on the entire book. So again, just a little bit of an insight there. Sometimes you feel like the mind comes back to environment, doesn't it? If the mindset work's not going in, we really should be doing it in a quiet, calm area where we're focused on doing the mindset work only. You can't do mindset work when you're driving. It's like trying to meditate when you're driving. You can't really do it in a gym. You can't really do it when you're running. It's good to have it on at those times because it goes in subconsciously, but the proper work needs to be done with complete focus. So accountability is the glue that binds everything we have talked about together, and that's what we finished on. You must have strong accountability in all areas of life. Accountability from a coach, accountability from a peer group, and most importantly, self-accountability. It's the most important thing in the world. This is why on Unbreakable Elite, the check-ins are weekly, because it's an elite plan. So they need to be checked in weekly to make sure that people are doing the work. Now, what I want you to understand is that people with high levels of accountability, self and external, or internal and external, are not only 10 times more likely to succeed, they will get there much faster. Okay? If not, you'll probably end up letting yourself down and selling out on your potential. Because if you've got no accountability, once the uninformed enthusiasm, yes, I'm going to get ripped, yes, I'm going to make more money, yes, I'm going to start a business, yes, I'm going to lose weight, yes, I'm going to build muscle, yes, I'm going to become a better person, yes, I'm going to commit to getting up earlier, yes, I'm going to commit to my morning walk, without any accountability. Once that motivated mood that you said all those things in has gone, you will just go back to your own self. So this is again why it's so powerful. And without it, like I said, you'll sell out and you'll never reach your full potential, because it's the team, it's the support, and it's the community. Now, what we are trying to do here, and what I'm trying to do as a business, is create the ultimate peer group. The ultimate environment for you to win, the ultimate environment of people to be around you. Now, when we can then combine coaching, a nutrition plan, a training plan, a mindset plan, accountability, and people on the same journey around you that want to see you win and only want to build you up, that is results dynamite. That is why so many people succeed on this plan. It's not the nutrition and the training plan. It's the peer group and the accountability. I've said this a million times. You can get the nutrition and the training plan on the internet. But accountability, without a shadow of a doubt, is the biggest secret weapon. And that is why AI will never wipe out coaching. I've seen so many things from people trying to sell AI stuff. Oh, the online coaching won't be a thing anymore because AI will do it. Well, AI is not going to call you out on your bullshit. AI is not going to invite you to monthly events. AI is not going to check in on you weekly. So what accountability is, and also what it helps with, is destroying limitations, because you're around people. Well, if he can do it, I can do it. I just need to spend more time with him, and it puts all the odds in your favor. So it's again what we're all about here, and we're going to come on to some tasks next. So again, be accountable. Comment on YouTube, because you won't be able to do them now because you're watching it live. Comment, task 1 completed, task 2 completed, or don't comment and don't do the work and don't get the results. But when you do that, don't blame, complain and justify, make it someone else's fault why you didn't do the work, because that shows a low level of integrity. So what is Unbreakable Elite about? It's the only example I've got. I say this all the time, don't I, in trainings. It's like sometimes I feel like I'm just telling my own story a lot, but it's the only story that I have. So that's how I share the visions through it. So it's all about shared values, working on yourself, having a vision, having support, energy, motivation, and accountability. We need all of them to win. This is why I've said so many people, why are, I need to work out these stats exactly. I think over 3,000 people who have been on the various plans that we've done, over 2/3 of them at some point have come back after doing an initial plan. Now, why is that? Think about it. They've still got the nutrition plan from before. They've still got the training plan from before. There's unlimited free resources that I give out. My free macro calculator, my recipe books, my mindset course. There's an absolute plethora of free information on the internet. Yet despite all that free stuff, they still leave, struggle, come back. Accountability. It's the glue that binds it all together. Accountability plus peer group equals fucking dynamite. So here is the task. And by the way, if you are on one of the challenges and you do want to stay, you've now only got 2 weeks. So do get in touch with me today. If you're not in Unbreakable Elite and you want to be, you want to discuss the options, send me a DM because the current challenge ends on the 30th of March, the one that started in January. So do let me know if you want to stay. So, task 1, values assessment. This is going to be so interesting. And if you do this, this is really going to throw up some things that you may not have considered. And it's also going to throw up some things that are going to make you feel really uncomfortable because you're not going to want to admit what some of your current values are. So, task 1 is, stop this on replay, but carry on watching now. What are your top 3 values in life? Now, if all of a sudden you think, I don't know really, you do. And I'll show you exactly how you find it out within milliseconds. It's the top 3 things that you spend the most amount of time doing. Might be exercise, might be moaning, might be spending time with your kids, it might be going to the pub. It might be working on yourself, your business and your career. It might be sat watching Netflix, making excuses. It might be planning your food, going shopping, tracking food on MyFitnessPal. It might be stuffing your face with junk, not planning, and living off meal deals every day. Whatever you spend the most of time doing are your values. You don't even have to think what your values are because your actions will show you what your values are. We always find time and money for what we value the most. The amount of people who are struggling with depression, anxiety, stress, massively overweight, really unhappy, who tell me they cannot afford the high-level Unbreakable Elite plan, even though they want to join it, followed by 3 weeks, I might actually join, I've just got my holiday in the Maldives to get out of the way first. I'm just having a £2 million refurbishment on the side of my house. I can't afford it because I need to get the 4 wheels changed on my brand new Defender Sport. That's not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying you should value me over that. I'm not saying you should value coaching over that. I'm not saying you should value your mental health over that. Your life is your life. You choose to live it how you want. But that has shown you where your values is. You value a holiday in the Maldives over your mental health. You value going to the pub, sniffing cocaine, getting pissed and watching football over quality time with your kids. It's a real example. You cannot get away from it, no matter how you look at it. So find out what they are. And my values have been way out of alignment with what I would be proud of in the past. At one point, I valued going clubbing and taking drugs and drinking over anything else in my life. It takes a real person to be able to take ownership and responsibility and say that. But most of the time we won't want to say it because we're actually ashamed. We feel guilt. Okay, some people will value having a full sleeve tattoo over getting in shape, even though every day they moan about how unfit they are and how unhappy they are. So get clear on what your top 3 values are and whether you need to change them or not. The second part of this task is, this is a big one, what are the top 3 values that you need to let go of? So what do you currently value in your life that you need to stop valuing so highly? One for me would be caring what anybody thinks about me. I value that way too highly at the moment. I really need to stop giving a shit about it. Another one is financial success. I need to stop valuing that so highly and replace that value into impact, growth, and contribution. So again, just a couple of examples there, but again, this might be, what are the top 3 things you currently value that aren't supporting your goals? So you might currently value drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes. But if you've said that your goal is that you want to get fit, drop body fat, save money, and run a marathon, and heal your mental health and lose weight, well, your current values don't match up with your goals. So you're never going to achieve them. So we have to make sure that our values support our goals. Now, number 2, task 2, going back to accountability. I can't get my head around why some of you don't do this. But how can we be more accountable? Why aren't you completing your weekly check-in? Some people are paying over £500 a month for signature service and not doing their check-in. Over 50% of people on Unbreakable Elite are not doing their check-in. Ask yourself today, why? Why aren't I doing my check-in? I get a reminder. I see Lee online every day. I get a text message. I hear him talking about it. Yet still, when it comes to receiving the link at 8 a.m, if you're on Unbreakable Elite, every week via text message and email, you still make a decision not to do it. And that's what it is. It's a decision. It's a choice. Don't bullshit me that you haven't got time to do it. You're full of crap. There is not one person on this plan that doesn't have time from 8 a.m. Friday morning until 8 a.m. Monday morning to complete a form that on average takes 3.5 minutes to complete and take 3 photographs and measure yourself. You don't want to do it for some reason. What's the reason? You don't value it. You don't value your health as highly as you say you do. You don't value accountability. So again, think about, how can I make myself more accountability? How can I do more of the things that I need to do in order to align my values and my actions with the things that I keep saying that I want? Like, you can't say you value building your business and then not spend any time working on your business. You can't say you value spending time with your kids and then run to the pub every time Big Dave says, do you want to come and watch the football, and spend the following day hungover, reactive, mardy and tired. Your actions aren't matching your values, and they have to be. So other people, I can't make you any more accountable than I do. But there has to be self-accountability. You have to commit that to yourself. You have to make yourself accountable as well. You can't put it all on someone else. I've tried to do this. Every time I've very often invested in something, I then virtually stop doing the work because I'm like, hey, I've given you money. You need to do that for me. And we're back at that point again. You can't buy yourself out of your own limitations. So if you have, I'd love to hear it. If you have got a reason why you can't find 5 to 10 minutes between 8 a.m. Friday morning and 8 a.m. Monday morning, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it in the comments live now. I'd love to hear it on YouTube. I'd love you to DM it to me. I'd love you to email it to me. And that's just not just, that's not being facetious. It's just meant to show you the point. I can't find one. But yet I've done it as well. I have to fill in a weekly, well, I don't know now because I'm no longer doing it, but when I was with the coach consultant, every week I had to fill in a monthly business report, and it was a lot more intensive than your check-in process. Yeah, some weeks I didn't do it. Why? I didn't value it. I got lost in other stuff. I was avoiding it. I didn't really want to see what I knew I had to put in. So I let other stuff fill my day. But then moaned about my business. So I'm calling myself out as well as you guys. I'm not just saying I'm great and I don't do this. I do it as well. That's why I get it. But we have to make sure our actions align with our values. Is your current behaviour aligning with your values and goals? Are your current actions matching up with what you say you want? Are you doing what you said you would? Again, as I've said, questions are the steering wheel of the mind. So ask yourself those questions. This life that I say that I want, are my actions aligning with that? Because if we're saying we want this life of prosperity and impact and wealth and growth and personal development and fitness and the body we want, yet every weekend we keep boozing and eating crap, then our values aren't aligned, and that's why we're not moving forwards. So, final part of this training, and whether it's now or later, on this one WhatsApp video, on this video, either the replay on YouTube or just the replay on YouTube, in fact, it's the only place you'll be able to comment. I want to know, have you watched The Key to Upgrading Your Life, part 1, part 2, part 3, and today, which is part 4? When you've done all 4 parts, on the YouTube video, I want you to just comment the number 4. And again, I'm going to check them. And then, with respect, I'm going to call out the people who are saying they're struggling with their mindset, they're struggling with their mental health, they're struggling with X, Y, and Z. But the reason why they're struggling is because they've not done the 4 bespoke sessions where all the answers were that help you to start planning the life that you want. So again, going back to questions being the steering wheel of the mind. If you haven't done the 4 sessions, ask yourself why. If you're struggling, what was it that was more important that stopped you doing it? Because it's in the region of 3 hours work in the last 10 days. 3 hours, that's it. And again, if you haven't, then go back to task 1, which was the values assessment, and look at what is it that I'm valuing higher than working on myself that's holding me back. What do I need to start doing and what do I need to stop doing? However, if you have watched them all, amazing. I can't wait to see your number 4s and give yourself a massive pat on the back. So, another great tip, and this is in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich as well. And if you have done them, by the way, like I said, congratulations, because it shows you're focused on your future, not the past and not what's not working for you. You're focused on what you need to do to get the life you want. So you might be saying, okay, how do I strengthen this peer group? How do I get more accountable? How else can I use all these tools that you're giving me to create a world-class life? Well, I actually have a peer group that is a fantasy peer group. And no, that doesn't include a whole host of hot female celebrities. Not one of those fantasy peer groups. It's a fantasy personal development peer group. And in that peer group are people like Phil Graham, Marcus Smith, David Goggins, Ant Middleton, Paul Moore, and Peter Sage. I don't see them. I don't meet up with them. They don't give me any accountability. But I can go to them in my fantasy boardroom when I'm struggling with something and say, what would Peter Sage do? What would Ant Middleton do in this situation? Would Ant Middleton be talking about this? Would Ant Middleton let something as silly as moving a washer and a dryer trigger his brain? What would David Goggins do when his knees start hurting at 54 miles? How would they act? What would they say? So again, you can create yourself a subconscious, fictitious peer group. And again, think about it's the same as a normal peer group like this. Who do I want in the peer group and why? Because if you sometimes can't get around a real peer group, let's say you're at home on your own, then you can create one, or like you guys who are here, you can join an existing peer group that's already full of winners, motivation, people that want to lift you up, emotional support, and everything in between. That's what Unbreakable Elite is. I'm actually going to create another one soon, which I've discussed with a few of you guys, that is for business owners only. So again, like I said, going back to the question, who do we want in our peer group? Different peer group for different things. And that isn't an elitist thing, but the whole theme of the entire meetings is going to be around businesses. So for that reason, it will be for business owners only. And what I want you to then take away, so you will have your peer group here with us. You might have your fictitious peer group like I do, or your fantasy peer group. And then you'll probably need to create your own peer group as well, which is around your friends and maybe your family. So you could create your own one. And before we do that though, there has to be like a set of terms and conditions with everything else. Like I can't just let everyone into, oh, I'm going to create this business mentorship peer group, but I've let 10 people in who don't have businesses and have no interest in it. Well, there's no point, is there? So you have to think about who you want in your peer group as well and why. This is in your personal life, not just here. So just to give you an example for this one, so they must own a business or be a director at national level. They must have business problems that need solving. They must be willing to show up and contribute and help others. They must have a positive attitude and bring good energy to the room. They must be obsessed with personal growth, development, and wanting to build their business for the sole reason of contributing to the world and helping others, not just making money. That's my terms and conditions. Your terms and conditions for your personal peer group could be they must value healthy eating and exercise. They must have a positive mental attitude. They must not use me as a sounding board every time we speak to offload their problems onto. They must be driven and focused. They must be good parents who are committed to that. You create who you spend your time with. But in order to get that right, we're going back to intention, right? You first need to know who you want in your peer group and why. Like there has to be a cost of admission. And again, that's not elitist, but if you want to hang with me, I only want to hang with a sort of person. I don't want to hang with Dave who goes to the football and drinks 10 pints every week and just moans about his wife. That's way below the cost of admission to get into my peer group. And again, the cost of admission can be financial or spiritual or from a love and emotional support, or very often what we're more looking for here is the cost of admission is your values. When you're around people with the same values, the same mission, the same purpose, everything will become effortless. And before we wrap this up with 6 keys to accountability, peer group, and living this world-class life, upgrading everything and becoming the person we want to be and really reaching our true potential as we've discussed, I'm going to give you the most incredible example of a peer group. And it is so simple. And this can be 2 people, or it can be 200 people, or it could be 2,000 people. So Mark Wibberley and I on Saturday are going to be running an ultra together. The week after, if you're available and you choose to show up and you value it and you've done the training and you realise that it's not about the outcome, so even if you came and did 5 miles, that's 5 better than 0. We are doing the team ultra on the 30th of March at Rother Valley. Now, are Mark and I more likely to succeed and do the ultra this Saturday together, supporting each other, agreeing a time when we start, not allowing each other to quit? Of course we are. And then look at the week after. If you had no leader, so I'm going to be setting the pace for the ultra, not the pace that you guys will think. I'm going to be setting the pace for people to complete 30 miles in 8 hours. It's a much slower pace than you think. You can walk considerable parts of it. But if you just had no plan, no coach, no arrangements, no peer group, no accountability, and nobody even knew whether you went or did it or not on the 30th of March, nobody to pick you up when you get tired, nobody to keep you going when you want to quit, how likely do you think you would be to complete that ultra? Out of 10. How likely would you be to even show up? Versus showing up at 8 a.m. on the 30th of March, surrounded by 40 plus people that want to help you, support you, keep you going. They've created energy, atmosphere, motivation, a leader, drive, support, community. Which person is most likely to succeed? It's mental, right? It's so obvious, but yet so underlooked. Don't be that person who tries to go it alone. As I've said, this is why so many people join this coaching plan and then, I've got everything that I need, I'm ready to fly solo, I'm ready to go it alone. And then within days, sometimes, they're back. Can't do it on my own, can't do it on my own. I'm like, I know you can't, I told you. I can't do it on my own either. It's so important. So, 6 keys here to work through. I'm going to have to speed this up. So, creating a successful peer group, coaching in your personal life, with your family, and everything in between. So these are the 6 steps to success. 1, do you like, respect, and love your leader and peers? It's an absolute must. I have no doubt, and it doesn't bother me because, as I said, I've worked very much on not caring what people think. I know a decent percentage of people will have left this peer group because they don't like me. Which is good for both parties, because connection in coaching and a peer group is an absolute must. I don't care how intelligent the coach is, how knowledgeable the coach is, how big the players are in your peer group. Remember, we always want to be the weakest person in the room if we want to grow. If we're the smartest person in the room, we're in the wrong room. If you have no connection, you don't like them, and you feel uncomfortable, not because people there are further ahead than you, just because there's no connection, you don't like them and it's awkward, then I guarantee you it will never work. You can't play great rugby in a team of people that you really don't get on with, that you don't like, that you don't respect. You can't run a business with a load of staff that you don't like, you don't respect, and you don't love. It's impossible. So that's the number one. Make sure you like, love, and respect your leader and the people in your peer group. When you do, so much easier. If you don't, leave and find a new one. Number two, this is one of the biggest things where I think people go wrong. You need advice that's built through experience and evidence of results, not a fucking opinion. Advice comes from somebody who has already achieved what you want and more. That is advice. That is knowledge. The amount of people taking opinions from fat PTs blows my mind. The amount of people that go to business coaches who don't even run a fucking business blows my mind. The amount of people that ask relationship from advice for people that have 4 failed marriages behind them blows my mind. The person you are taking advice from has to have done everything that you want. They have to be there and further along, and they have to have the evidence of it. Do you know how many people go to coaches because that coach has a great body, but that coach has no history of results, no evidence of results with other people, no testimonials? You know, this is why I've told this story. I'm talking, they're like, oh, I really want to start this business, but I spoke to my dad about it and he doesn't think it's a good idea. What does your dad do? Oh, he's an accountant. Of course he doesn't think it's a good idea. He's never run a business. So we have to take people into our peer group and people that we listen to based on advice, evidence, and experience, not an opinion. Authentic people walk the walk and they talk the talk. There are a lot of people talking the talk and giving advice and opinions who haven't actually achieved what you want. So just be careful that you're listening to advice from people with experience who have achieved what you want and more, not having your decisions shaped by the opinions of people who you wouldn't even swap your life with. I would not take an opinion from someone who doesn't have what I want, someone who hasn't achieved what I want. Why would I? It makes no sense. Number 3, committed allies. People that show up, people that have integrity. If you have a training partner who keeps cancelling, fuck them off. Like if we're committed allies and you're my training partner, we have set times when we train and we show up for each other because we're committed allies. We don't give up. We do the work. We have integrity. We have good goals. We support each other. That's non-negotiable. Don't have a peer group full of weak allies who don't even do what they said they would, who constantly let you down. Change the times. Show you every single week that they value something else higher than your training session. Oh, do you mind if we just move it to this because da-da-da? Oh, do you mind if we just move it to that because of da-da-da? Oh, I can't make it this week because of da-da-da-da. Get them people out of your life. Number 4, any peer group should have formal structure and rules. How are you accountable? When do you meet? What are the outcomes? What are the goals? And as I said, a strong history of results. Be around people who have the results that you want. I'm not going to take running advice from someone who hasn't run an ultra. I'm not going to take business advice from someone who hasn't run a business. I'm not going to take relationship advice from someone who's got a history of really bad relationships. I'm not going to take mental health advice from someone who's clearly depressed. We need evidence and a strong history of results that people can prove that person has proved that they're the coach for me. That person has proved that they're the person that I want to be around. That person has transformation, not information. The amount of people that are just selling information that have never been through the transformation is insane. And the second or final, main part of a peer group, whether it's this peer group, whether it's your peer group of friends and family, whether it's your peer group at work, or whether it's your fictitious online peer group, whatever you're using to create the most supportive environment for you to win and make sure you're surrounded by the right people, because you know that it's the key to success along with accountability, is make sure it's fun. You should come away from your peer group having had a laugh and feel energized. This is why we come away from the meetups feeling great, shared jokes, had banter, everyone gets on. It has to be fun as well. So again, whether it's here or personally, are you hanging around with fun people? Are you hanging around with people when you come away from seeing them, you feel inspired and energized? Because if you're not, and you're coming away from people when you feel demotivated and drained, then again, the world is giving you a sign that it's time to change. So again, if you want to stay on the quarterlies, you want to stay here, and you're on the challenge, again, just let me know this week, because you've made the grade via the fact that you've seen this video. If you haven't seen this video, you won't be sending me a DM, because you won't have had the message, because you haven't made the grade, because you haven't done the trainings, because you haven't showed up. So, total recap on these 4 parts. As I said, go back if you haven't watched them all. The Key to Upgrading Your Life, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. They're a mini-series. They work together. Binge watch them. Go through them. Most of the information that I've shared has changed my life and improved it. And that's what I want it to do to you. So, recap on them. Session 1, we discussed the law of conformity. You become who you surround yourself with. We discussed environment will always beat willpower and motivation. You ain't going to get ripped and rich sitting in Mackie D's with Big Fat Dave, who values football, beer and gear over growth, personal achievement and being a role model to his kids. It is not going to happen. The end. You are making it impossible for yourself. You need to make sure you are around the best environment, people, and just in general life in order to get results. Because with the right people around you, success becomes easy. With the wrong people around you, success becomes almost impossible. I've eradicated multiple people from my life and this group this year alone because they didn't meet the standards. I knew I couldn't grow with them in my life. I knew they were draining my energy. I knew they were holding me back. This is people in my personal life, not you guys. I knew I can't be around that person anymore because they're really starting to affect me. This person makes me feel energized, focused. I want to be like him. I want to achieve what he achieved. Every time I watch and listen to him, I come away feeling great. And that's a decision we have to make. But you need to have the best environment. Now, a little recap on what we did in session 2. Remember, if you get triggered by any of this, most of it's not your fault. Okay? Most of us have been programmed unconsciously since the age of 5. The points are made. Everyone in our family's always been big. No one in our family's ever had money. You'll never amount to anything. You're too short to play rugby. You're not big enough to play rugby. Your mouth's going to get you in trouble one day. You'll never amount to anything. You're not clever enough. Everyone in our family's thick. Most people have been manipulated and programmed since the age of 5. And this is what being in a peer group like this does. So again, if you want to stay, I believe it's critical. Because peer group changes programming. You are being around a group of people who are reprogramming how you think, whether it's me as your coach or the Unbreakable team. They're programming you to want more. They're programming you to contribute. They're programming you to crush self-doubt and get rid of your limiting self-beliefs. They're programming you that you can do what they do too by showing them. They're supporting you. They're being there for you. They're lifting you up. So remember, peer group changes programming. Intention and direction. If we don't have intention and direction, then we cannot align the heart and the mind. We have to know what we want and why we want to do it, and then move into that direction. And we have to be passionate about it. We have to be doing the things we do because we love the things that we do, not doing the things that we do because we think we're going to get the outcome that's going to make us happy when we get there, because we won't. That is a one-way road to nowhere. This is why the greyhound never catches the rabbit. And even if he did catch the rabbit, another rabbit would run off. But yet, why does the greyhound just run and run and run and run and run? Because he just loves running and chasing the rabbit. It's never about catching the rabbit. Because if all you are about is doing the thing as fast as you can to get the thing that you want, every time you're going to get hit with that smack in the face, that didn't actually make me feel as fulfilled as I thought it would. And then you either go back to your old ways or you have to set something new. So just be okay with who you are. Be okay with being on the journey. Be passionate about looking after your body rather than thinking about the weight you have to lose. Be passionate about coming and spending time around positive people on the 30th of March and doing your best, not whether you manage to run 31 miles or not. Eat healthy food because you love your body, not because you hate it. Eat healthy food because you want to nourish your body, not because of the pounds you need to lose. And once we've got all of these things right, so the conformity, the environment, the direction, the intention, the peer group, and everything in between, remember, accountability, self, group, and sometimes fantasy is the glue that binds everything that we have talked about together. Because when you are surrounded by the right people, not only are you 100 times more likely to succeed, the speed at which you get there will be lightning fast versus trying to slug it out on your own, surrounded by negative people, never asking for help. So, biggest reminders before I wind this down. Number 1, you cannot buy yourself out of your current beliefs. You have to do the work. Implementation, not more information. It's not that you don't know what to do, it's that you keep not doing what you know. Only you can do the work. You can't keep taking the old you into new relationships, the old you into new coaching plans, the old you into new fat loss missions, and expecting a different outcome. You're just going to keep spending a lot of new money on old results. So, action points. 1, commit to watching all 4 of these trainings. If you haven't, don't worry. We get busy, we get distracted, I know. But if that's why, we need to quiet the mind and make time for it. Set yourself up to win and do 1 mindset training every day. Stop avoiding the storm and learn to dance in the rain. One of my favourite ever phrases. And learn to dance in the rain with like-minded people. Learn to dance in the rain with people that embrace challenge. The obstacle is the way. Anything that you're going through now which is tough is a road to a better place. Trust me, you'll see a real example. These next 3 weeks are going to be tough, very tough for me. I bet I will be here talking to you in 3 weeks if you have decided to stay. If you have, remember, please do let me know in the next week if you want to, or it will end. I will be sat here talking from a new house, super happy, happier than I've ever been in this one, and everything will be great, and it will be a home, and Logan's going to love it, and I'll be like, what was all that drama about? This was actually a gift the world that gave me to move me from somewhere where I was to somewhere where I'm happier. Stop complaining, start doing. Stop moaning, start working. Stop blaming and start contributing. Your actions will always express your priorities. You will always find time and money for what you value. What are your key values and what are the values you need to let go of? If you look at your diary and your bank account today, it will almost certainly show you what your values are. And I can actually give myself some credit on this one. 95% of my diary is filled with exercise, Logan, and work, which to me is contributing to impacting people to having a healthier life. If you look at my bank account, almost all of my business bank account is constantly reinvested into events, coaching, mentors, branding, booklets, mindset days, and everything in between. So it shows me what my values are. There are also some things in there that need to be removed. I'm not perfect. To finalize, create your goals, set your intention so you can put your attention on your intention. Surround yourself with the right people. Take action towards it daily. Chill with winners who inspire you and hold you accountable. Choose to stay unbreakable. Choose to stay part of the peer group that's going to keep lifting you up. But you have to be accountable too, and you have to do the work. And these are just two little analogies. This is something that a mentor said to me when I was about to leave a peer group, and it actually made me stay. He said, let's fast forward 12 months from now, Lee. 12 months of you checking in with me every week. 12 months of you doing the mindset work every week. 12 months of you being accountable for how many sales calls you do each week. 12 months of you being around me and the other guys in this elite mentorship. How do you think your life looks 12 months from now with that as the continued effort, or if you leave and go it alone? It's crazy. So just think again for you guys this. Imagine if you check in every single week for the rest of 2024. Imagine if you attend all the events. Imagine if you watch and make notes on all the mindset trainings. Imagine if you track your food every single day. Imagine if you train every single week. How different can your life look? How different will it look? And we are all here to help each other. I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you. You have all the knowledge. I'm passionate about helping you, but I can't do the work for you. We have to be accountable in this. So let's knuckle down and commit to doing the work that is going to unleash the best ever version of you. Don't settle for average. Don't settle for mediocre. Stop playing small. Stop quitting. Stop giving up. Stop listening to negative people. Stop listening to opinions over advice from people who've done what you want. Commit to excellence. Commit to constantly raising the bar. Commit to enjoying the journey, the process, not the outcome or the prize. And raising the bar time and time and time again. Go back to the training on raising your standards. Raise it again and again and again and again. That's what Unbreakable is all about. That's why I went from a half to a marathon to 10 marathons to an ultra to 89 miles to 103 miles to now attempting 200 miles. This is what Unbreakable is about. This is why the events are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. When I have enough investment, I want to do events abroad. When I have enough investment, I want to bring in people like Ant Middleton to speak at the event. I'm addicted to growth of this company. I'm addicted to personal growth. But that means doing the work. And the final thing I'm going to end on, because this really hit home with me. And if you're struggling right now, that should hopefully have built you up. But this should give you a little bit of an insight into why you might be going wrong, why you might be struggling, why you said you were going to come to the 3 Peaks but didn't show up, why you said you were going to come to the last Ultra but didn't show up, why you said you were going to check in this week but didn't do it again for the 3rd time after I chased you, why you've ignored the last 5 voice notes that I've sent you. You guys know who you are. In a world that is so full of opportunity, so full of abundance, so full of growth, and everything, the knowledge and information that you need to get the world-class life that you want is at your fingertips. The information to get the body you want, the business you want, the life that you want, everything that you need to be proud of. Why are so many people still struggling? It's simple. It's the theme of these entire trainings. You're just not surrounded by the right people. Our potential will always be limited by the people we spend time with. And if we can just erase these people, erase these limiting beliefs, create new ones, stop procrastinating, eradicate fear, create new habits, take action daily, never quit, live a courageous life, develop mission, purpose and focus, create a compelling vision of our future, block out all distraction, and create a life that's so exciting we develop this energy without needing coffee and Monster, which I'm working on, and wake up feeling renewed because of the people we're around and the goals that we're working towards, then that is what will lead to us really living this world-class life. And as I've said in these trainings, it's about upgrading your life. So let's finish what we've started. Let's keep setting new goals. Let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep pushing more as a team, holding each other accountable, moving forward, taking life by the horns. And just remembering there is no destination. There is no outcome. There is no end point. This is an everlasting journey that we need to stay on and be passionate about in order to keep moving forwards towards the compelling, incredible life that we keep talking about what we're wanting, and to reach our true potential, not just as human beings, but as a team. Guys, I love you all. Stay unbreakable. Have a phenomenal day.